it looks definitely like the most crypto-friendly and crypto-native thing that you currently can do if you want to set up an an kind of crypto company, crypto DAO thing, and you don't need the super special stuff like when you're issuing a token or selling stuff, because basically the operation will be pretty easy and straightforward from a legal side, I think, and so Marshall is going to be pretty cool, I think. Yeah. Um, if you guys want, we can go through some of because I did a couple of small changes here and there. Maybe it would be good to go through it to see if I missed something or misunderstood something or stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure.
Let me share my screen? Okay.
Just to clarify, so we would then, once we get to a final version of this, we then have to put it through phase 1, phase 2 again, or
Let's say, like, yeah, we should. Ob Officially, we should put it again as a edit of a phase 1. So it would
right,
need to go again to phase 1 and get the 50 approval votes. But once it has this, it can directly move into phase 2, because
right,
it's not a new proposal. It's just an edit of an already long-term discussed and existing proposal. So
mhm,
yeah, so we just publish it, get the word out that this is kind of like now the final version. We get enough people supporting it in the forum, and once we got the support, we put it up for phase 2. Let them all do the poll. I mean, practically, it would be, of course, easier and straightforward to just say, okay, that's a poll, but we have written it in the governance framework like that all these changes always require um,
mhm,
to
mhm.
have it. So I wouldn't
And then
actually
should
change it.
we
Yeah.
start trying to follow the voting schedule that we talked about on the governance framework as well, since
Actually,
we're start of the new year?
yes. What did we say? We say uh, you just made it in the Airtable the last time I saw. We said
Yeah, I'll put a link in the.
yeah, phase 2 starts first and third Monday, yeah, of a month.
Correct. Yep.
And phase 3 will then start
The second
Thursday, the second and the fourth week. So this
of Thursday.
means it could kind of
Hit the
work
20 or at the 16th if we got the 50 votes.
the 16th for the
Phase 2
50
vote.
votes for phase 2. Okay, and
Yeah.
then we would be just again have to wait for Firefly to be ready.
Right.
And
Which
for
I'm
yeah,
which I'm hoping they would be ready by the 9th of
yeah.
February.
And
But we'll see.
for the Firefly vote, the thing is, I would not. Let's say Firefly will be ready 2nd of February. That's just like
Right.
that's no ETA or something, but just like
Sure,
then
sure.
officially we would have to wait until week Thursday in week 2 if we follow the
Or what we
schedule.
could do, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah. I
we
mean,
could
or we could
we could just
adjust
yeah,
it to align.
I would definitely I would if stuff is ready, I would not then wait another 10 days just because it's written.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of. We have still this is still kind of the rollout phase, and once Firefly is ready, don't waste another 10 or 12
yeah,
days with useless
yeah.
waiting just to fit the schedule. Yeah, we're still in the beginning. I would then always, once Firefly is ready and Firefly team is happy and says, okay, this is the release here, you can start to vote. Then we should definitely roll out the vote ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Let me. Oh, maybe we do this here in GitHub. Maybe people. Can you see this? It's maybe a little bit bad to see because the cool. Maybe I can enlarge it. Do you see it better like that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Is it readable? So that's the nice thing with GitHub always. Yeah, whenever you change anything in a document, I just put it in GitHub, make a pull request, and so I have a commit. And so basically you see everything. This is this document putting in GitHub, and you see all the changes to the version that we had before. Yeah, this is always highlighted. These are
So
removals and additions.
the Hacker MD, the hack. Sorry, I can't remember what you call it, but
Yeah.
that populates from the GitHub
No, the
data.
HackMD is where I write the stuff actually. Um, and then I put it in GitHub because I hate writing in GitHub, but in HackMD you can write in Markdown like that. And I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
copy paste it in GitHub, and in GitHub you can always compare it to the previous version. And so here we
Nice.
always see everything that is highlighted here are changes to the version before. So this stuff is removed, what is red here, yeah, these things, because I just wanted to shorten some stuff because the proposal is still pretty long, and we know people have issues with reading long text. So
Mhm.
I removed, this is basically just some introduction, blah, 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 which we already had in the first two versions of the proposals, and I removed
Right.
that. I added the updated links here. Um, Also there, then I add also the link to this GitHub file, so people they can see this here and they can check it in GitHub. This is also nothing interesting, just some removal stuff to shorten stuff. Shortenings. Then because last time when we did this, we didn't have the grant reviewer selection process finished already. So this was just basically some wording because here we talk still about that we just have recently started the application process and stuff. So I just removed the things.
Okay.
Then we have a section in the simple summary that describes what grant reviewers are doing and things like this. And this is basically the only changes I did in this section are that here the stuff with the legal entity. Yeah. Um, so I added basically this after many consultants with different lawyers in Switzerland, blah, 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 blah. Then we have decided to go the way of the Marshall Island DAO LLC with WeDAO. And um, then I also mentioned that we have engaged with Paolo, who will basically be our legal representative or support us in drafting the documents. Put this up here. Um,
Nice.
yeah, that was this. What else did I change? Okay, then of course I removed all the stuff that was speaking about Switzerland, yeah, and
Mhm.
exchanged it to Marshall Island stuff. This is just um, some wording clarifications, some removal of useless text. Also, this is just like wording. Also, I removed these things and just made, yeah, this is all stuff. I just wanted to have it a little bit shorter. Which
Mhm.
was just like all explaining. But people should have been reading this proposal already. In the version 1 was more information. Also this one, removed that. Then, like we talked about, and it was a good mention, JD, that will make sense that basically everybody will go as a contractor for Marshall Island and not be kind of a fixed employee, because this will release any obligations of paying social healthcare and all these different things. So basically, I changed the text for the lead um, to be not employed by the Swiss GmbH, and added actually the stuff about that those people will all be contracted by the Marshall Island DAO LLC once it is set up, and that basically everybody will just issue invoices um, to Marshall Island, which I think will then make it much easier to track this, and you will not have the obligations of the social security and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something that the Marshall Island representative had talked about. I mean, like in America, there's certain regulations if you're a full-time employee, and even though it's formed in Marshall Islands, it's just more cleaner if we just contract all employees,
yeah,
and then basically even for taxes too, like then those individuals are completely and solely responsible for all their country's obligations in their
yes,
homeland.
yeah,
There's never any another aspect for anyone that's
yeah. And you
he
don't,
says some of their clients even create LLCs to offer an extra liability protection, but ours is pretty good anyways.
yeah, and you
Um,
don't need to
but
pay. You don't need to pay to the Marshall Island pension fund and stuff like this.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes most sense. The good thing is also for this, I mean, the LLC, because as it is set up in Marshall Islands, it doesn't need any employee. It doesn't need a
Right.
director. It actually just doesn't need anyone that is in a kind of a employment obligation with this whole thing. And that's so nice on the way Marshall Island does it. Yeah, it's really native
Mm.
to what we envision how things could be handled in a DAO style thing. So it's pretty cool. And then we can remove all these stuff that we had for Switzerland with all these more complex structures, because Switzerland always follows these yeah, kind of old school concepts. What else? Change some little wording here, removed Swiss stuff here, and exchanged it to Marshall Island. Some wording changes from leaves to resigns. Blah. Something else. I think. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This is all not really interesting. Basically, yeah. Then the point that we have put back is that um, the stuff with not everyone of the team needs to do KIC. Like if we have a team with 20 people asking for a grant, we won't do KIC with all the 20 people. So we will
Mm.
always limit it to maximum 3 people of a team, where one of them would be the submitter, and then the signer of the agreement, basically that they will go in with the LLC, should be KIC'd, and then depending on how big the grant is, yeah. So this is tier 4, so this is the biggest one, would require 3. Also tier 3 members. Tier 2, which would be 1 member. For the small, so for the 2 small grants would be 1 member, and for the bigger grants would be 3 members. This is all. We discussed this already. blah. This is all only wording, and spelling errors corrected. Um, This one I added because last one we removed this stuff that basically projects will be able to, or let's say, will can be seen more positive if they give some equity or some tokens. If they have tokens and they offer a percentage of their token supply to the treasury, they could receive a little bit higher scoring. We had last time we removed this because the Switzerland lawyers were absolutely not happy with this. Um, JD, you said Marshall Island is stuff like this is no
Yeah,
problem, and so
totally.
I did put that whole stuff back that we had discussed. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was why I really like the Marshall Islands, because essentially for them as a nonprofit, the DAO can earn income really in any way as long as those profits go back to the goal of the DAO, which is expanding the ecosystem. They just can't be distributed as profits to members of the DAO, which is essentially the token holders. So um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
which it could be percentage of tokens. It could be anything, you know. So which is good.
Yeah. And that's nice. So we have this option. It's not something like, I mean, we made it clear here. Yeah, this doesn't imply automatically that if they offer tokens, they will get a better review and have a chance of receive a higher funding. This is really always have to be seen in an individual case, but it could be helpful for some things that the committee deems to be very important for the ecosystem and has a big chance of success, but they are missing some points here and there. And if they are willing to basically share their success with the community, um, they can receive a little bit favored view on their proposal. If it makes sense, yeah, I trust the committee. They will make good decisions here. If the project looks crap, doesn't matter how many tokens they offer you, um, they won't be able to get a grant from the community if it just doesn't look like this thing will ever work. Yeah, so that's about that. This again, only wording changes. Blah 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 blah. Budget. Here, for clarification, I just added the address where currently the tokens are residing with the link, so everybody can check that the tokens are still there, community tokens. Just some clarification and wording. Remove the Swiss stuff and exchange it with Marshall Island stuff. Same, same here. Again, removed Switzerland and added Marshall Island. Also here, service provider contracts with the Marshall Island. Mm, yeah. Also, then I removed all the stuff from the old legal entity stuff, and I basically just did put up that I think these are still the fees. Yeah, so the setup fee is 9,500 for Marshall Island, and the annual fee is 5,000. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these are all the costs that would come up for setting up Marshall, and of course the lawyers. Um,
That that is the MyDAO fee. So if
yeah,
we wanted to include sort of third party legal representation, such as Paulo, that would be 4,500 euro,
mhm,
which can be paid in Shimmer.
yeah,
And that covers the four contracts: the operating agreement, KYC AML policy, GDPR, privacy, and also what is going to be interesting. I talked to him um, about a contract of I thought that was good, is that we have a contract with the
yeah,
proposal receivers saying, hey, we're giving you these funds for this deliverable you stated. And if you go and take these funds and fund a terrorist campaign, that's not what this contract was agreed. And he said, what he said was the online web form that they
Mm.
submit the proposal is essentially a contract. And so
Yeah.
he'll review that and then put some disclaimer and wording
Yeah.
in there. But that essentially, once they submit, if they're accepted, then all of a sudden there's a contract in place to say,
Yes.
you've provided these milestones deliverables. We're funding that. We're not funding anything else. And if you take this money, then we're not legally responsible for, what you do with it type deal.
Mm.
Um, so I thought that was
That's
pretty
pretty
good
good.
and
Yeah.
and Hill. And then that's also since they'll be KYC'd if we ever, I don't see why we would. I don't know if it would be worth the
Mm.
money, but we needed to seek legal intervention, then we have this agreement that's legal as well.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
good.
One thing that we could ask him also is um, drafting basically the service provider contracts for the grant reviewers. I mean, they need a proper wording. Don't know if
Yeah.
Marshall Island has any. I think, I mean, he have done a couple of Marshall Island things, so maybe he
Mhm.
is the best person to ask about
Mhm.
the correct form for the wording of those contracts. To include also what requirements we have to grant reviewers. So basically, I would put in stuff like that they must operate a hardware wallet for the multisig and stuff like this. Basically,
And
we can
also,
talk
I
to
think
him. Yeah,
what would be good too is um, if the community votes to let that provider go, like, you know, termination. How
yeah,
is that
yeah, yeah.
person
Yeah,
terminated?
that's a termination things,
Mhm.
conflict of interest stuff that we
Mhm.
have decided on. All this needs to be basically translated from the framework into legal binding contractual terms. And so we need
Mhm.
somebody to do that. We could ask IF Legal to do it. But maybe, I mean, we have him already there, so potentially it will make sense that he researches what would be the best terms specifically for Marshall Island. Assume that it's very likely very close to what Delaware or US law and
Mhm.
contracts would look like, so it shouldn't be a complex thing. And yeah, so but we just can ask him if he's able to provide that, or if we would need another lawyer that is specialized on human resources stuff, law or something like this, then we will have to look around for that. Or
Yeah.
we ask in IOTA Foundation if Anya, if our legal team can draft stuff, maybe basically copy our IOTA Foundation service provider contracts, and then we can see if they fit or if we have to change some wording together with Mido. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I wonder if it wouldn't have to be as complex, but definitely having that
yeah,
those terms like,
yeah, just
can be terminated in case the treasury doesn't have enough funds for
that's
salaries, can be terminated if they're not performing their duties per the program lead and or
yeah,
specifically the community wants to terminate this person,
mm,
because
yeah.
essentially they're delegated by
But
the
it
community.
might also be important because to provide the liability protection for the committee members, basically the
Hmm.
liability is provided through this service provider contract. And so I think it's
Hmm.
pretty important that those things, especially in regards to liability, are really worded properly in accordance to Marshall Island law. So I
Hmm.
think this will make sense because this is basically what gives you, as a grant reviewer, what gives you the protection. Yeah, you have
Hmm.
signed this contract with the Marshall Island LLC, which has a legal protection and which provides or which takes you under the umbrella of their legal protection with signing of this contract. So this needs to be very well formulated that there are no hiccups in the end in regards to liability and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. what else? Yeah, the rest is just Marshall Island, blah blah blah. So that's it. So you see there are no big changes, mostly just the stuff shortened a little bit and exchange everything to Marshall Island. Um, so
So
that's yeah.
do we have anything in there that discusses one, let's say this is accepted through a phase 3 proposal. Is it discussed in there how it's updated? Like if we need to update something, if we need to change something, is that kind of process
Mm,
discussed, verbalized?
let
Because I
me
know it kind
think.
of is discussed in the governance framework.
Yeah,
This is the
we have
treasury.
something. Yes, let me see. We have blah 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 written that stuff changes to this thing will need to go through the governance process as described in the governance framework. Let me see. We have it here. Motivation in the specification. This is the committee diddle diddle did, diddle diddle did. Ah yeah, here. Okay, now we have it here with, this is just speaking about replacing members. So the community may replace members, blah, 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 following the process described in the Shimmer governance framework. Um, you're right, we should add a paragraph that says any changes to this framework or to this to the specification of this framework have to follow the governance process with proposal and vote and stuff like this. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't have it yet in, but I'll add that into the specification. That's actually a good and important point. Yeah.
cool.
Cool. Yeah. Good. That's this. So actually, I think from my
I think that's
side,
it.
that's was what I wanted to discuss. I don't have, or don't want to give any new infos on Firefly. I let them. I mean, I've shared too often hopeful news, so I just gonna be silent on that, and let's wait until we get official alpha tester release dates for the governance functionality. Yeah, and
I will say, and like looking at the GitHub, it looks like they're doing a lot of governance.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it like rather than just doing the what we have in Firefly, it seems like they're doing the full Monty where is it going to be at is this version going to be the one where like Sooniverse can integrate it and other
yeah. It
proto like,
it
applications can integrate it?
the thing is it's much more complex than what we had with IOTA. Yeah, uh, that's a little bit the thing with our new with all the new features on layer one with all those output types. Yeah, in IOTA
Mhm.
you basically had actually only one output type, and then you had some different pay one or two different payloads, and now we have all these conditions. We have those time logs, we have NFTs, we have conditional sendings, return conditions. The problem here is that uh, you have to make sure that all kind of edge cases that basically, okay, somebody has started to vote, and then he's receiving an NFT, needs to pay storage deposit, and there is a conditional time lock on that stuff, and he wants to do this with the same tokens that he's currently voting, and then later on go back and continue to vote. All this stuff has to be implemented, and that wasn't there before. So that in the beginning, I also thought kind of, I mean, guys, it's just the same stuff that we have in IOTA already in Shimmer. Like, what's the big thing? But then I had a couple of meetings, and everybody explained, and I really see that there's basically it's a complete new, still doing the same, but it's a complete new implementation of the governance functionality compared to what we have in Chrysalis, because Chrysalis is a complete different layer one in this regards, and so they had quite a lot of work to do for that stuff. I mean, they work now on this 2 months
Mm.
with two or three people, kind of. So yeah, or yeah,
Well, and
6 or 8
I think
weeks.
I
Yeah.
saw like the you won't have to before. once you did the what's it called? The participation event, you had to update. They had to do an update on Firefly, but now it'll just be you could just put it in. You don't have to update Firefly every time
Yeah.
a new vote
Yeah.
is
And I
basically.
mean, this is the main thing. We didn't want it. We could have rolled out a quick and dirty version with just another hard-coded vote. Yeah. So,
Mm.
but then again, now you see, we going in the end. We're going to have three votes. Yeah. This wasn't so clear in the beginning. So, and now, once this version is out, and especially now with things like the stuff that also Garrett proposed, and there will be a lot of community initiatives that just want to ask the community on their opinion. And so you now can just upload new proposals, new votes into Firefly and into the Hornet nodes, and you can just vote on them without any involvement of the IF. Actually, could be possible. Of course, the IF will always. So what we have discussed is basically everything that goes through the governance forum, through the official governance process that we have designed as a community, with our framework, um, and that passes phase one and phase two, will be kind of officially implemented in the native nodes that Firefly is connected to. Yeah, so with the IOTA Foundation nodes. Uh, but still, if community members want to do something completely different, so they say, okay, we are a little team, we are a community, we are a little project, we have other ideas. We don't want to follow the governance process, but we want to take out a vote. They can do this, yeah. They
Mm.
upload their stuff to their own nodes, and then they just need to tell everybody to which node you need to connect your Firefly wallet. Because the official nodes will not host those events, but everybody can connect his Firefly wallet to a different node of this community, and then you can take part in these votes, yeah. And all this can happen without involvement of IOTA Foundation, without new releases of Firefly and stuff like this. And it's pretty simple and pretty easy. You just basically upload a little file in Hornet, and you upload or you click a link for Firefly, and then you will be connected, and you can do governance votes. Um, Completely independent of the IOTA Foundation, and that's a pretty nice also way of decentralizing governance more than we had it before.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Hello. I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Um, do we include in the document itself that describes the nature of the document, that it's a living document and that it does change and the conditions under which it will change? Just as we were talking about the previous
Mhm.
process being included.
Um,
Do-
that was, I think, the point of. I mean, this document is currently just always draft versions. Once this thing is voted in, um, all changes. So basically, then it's not a living document anymore because it's static. So whenever something changes, it will need to go through the official governance process that we have described with the forum, and then those once a change is voted in, then the stuff will be updated. But actually, that's good because I'm hosting this whole thing always also in GitHub, and we should then also include, JD, from your idea that we basically need to define how people or how the community can change the specification via votes. Also, how this whole thing is hosted and documented. So I will write an article into it, um, put in that it's hosted on GitHub. Basically, GitHub is kind of then the source of truth because in GitHub we potentially see all the changes, and that once a change is voted in, the change will happen through a pull request in GitHub. Similar like we have done it in the big framework document. Yeah, so the general governance framework, we have it all described how things will, once they are voted on, will be changed in the document via pull requests. I didn't have it here, but actually I think it's a good idea to put it in, so that we are clear. Okay, the
Yes,
most
thank you.
the most updated version will always be in GitHub in this repo, and we'll also put then the link in the forum that people always find the most actual and the newest and recent version of this framework. That's a good point. I'll have to add that. Yeah, that's cool.
And I think the governance framework is something along the lines, I don't know exactly verbatim, but
Yeah.
Changes can
Yeah.
be proposed like every quarter, every 6 months, and
Yeah.
that would go through a phase 1, 2, and 3 to get solidified. But there's also the emergency proposal where if something major needs to be changed, such as Gnosis goes down and we need to use another wallet, let's say,
Yeah.
this would have to be like an emergency proposal and not
I
wait
wouldn't.
for.
Let's say I personally wouldn't enforce the same thing here with the seasons and the stuff. Because basically, first of all, I think once this stuff is operating, there won't be a big need for changes because it's by far not as detailed and defined as the governance framework. Yeah, so here basically we just have some set of rules how the treasury, in which boundaries the treasury should operate, but it's not word by word described exactly what you should do every day. So I think once the community the community feels that something is going wrong in the treasury, then there will need to be a proposal in the governance framework to change things.
Well, that I'm just thinking like maybe after 6 months, the committee sees like, hey, we should change the tier 1 value to 7,500
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the treasury's increased and there's a lot of people that want quick funding and the projects generally lie around 6,000, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just saying as an example. So I think like almost similar to us doing the application process, until once we start executing, all of a sudden we find little things that we didn't think about, like,
Yeah.
hey, there's top 5 candidates all from one distinct project, and there'll probably be some things that we don't think about in this framework that we won't necessarily see until we start executing on it. So just some of those little tweaks that we might do.
I'm just thinking about, do we actually, from my opinion, I think the detailed, or let's say the small operational details here should and need to be proposed by the treasury itself. So like you said, after 2 months, the treasury figures out, or the committee figures out, there's stuff written here that we try to follow it, but it kind of doesn't make sense in our day-to-day operation. Before we basically bend the rules and just give a shit on what is written here, let's make a proposal and officially ask permission from the community to change a certain process, because now we have the experience and we can justify and say, okay, friends, that was basically created without the experience, but now we have the experience. We have seen our operations would be better if we change this. So I think changes to this thing should actually always come out of the committee. The only thing that I would envision that the community should or could change is committee members, replacement, removal, or basically shutting this whole thing down. But as the community is not involved really in the operation. So if somebody says, yeah, I don't like tier 3 is only for 50,000, I want it for 60,000, or I don't want 3 KIC people, I think it needs to be 5 KIC people. I don't think that it will make sense to put this up for a vote, yeah. So
No,
yeah,
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. That's probably pretty good.
yeah, because it's like,
What if, I'm
yeah,
just looking here. What if someone wants to get paid in Shimmer rather than USDT?
possible once the gnosis is there. Should we put it up as an option there? You
Like,
mean
was that a Switzerland thing?
no, actually, why did we do this? We did do it because we never know how the volatility and stuff like this will
True.
be. So in the end, you
Because
get,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, you
let me
never
ask
know.
this question. Does the currency itself really become moot because you can switch to anything at any time or ask for anything at any time? Because we don't know what's going to be the dominant or preferred currency.
No, it's a good idea. And then if someone wanted to be paid in Shimmer, then you don't have to worry about doing a conversion. I think the only thing that would be if we're using, let's say, a Gnosis wallet, it would have to be whatever currency can be done in that
Supported.
Gnosis wallet, rather than like someone saying, I want pineapple token, and you got to go to this
Yeah.
random exchange and convert it and then send to me,
Yeah. No, in the
but I think it's a
beginning,
good idea.
yeah, in the beginning,
Matter.
it will definitely be USDT, USDC stablecoin, potentially on Binance chain until we have Gnosis and Shimmer and stuff there. But actually, that's a good point. And actually, I forgot to add this because I wanted to add one thing which I have seen in other DAOs and other grants to operate. And basically, this is the thing that how to determine basically how many, yeah, no, actually, I know that some grants and some treasuries do it like this. Uh, instead of taking the daily price of their token, they take the price of a 15-day or a 20-day a moving average. Yeah, so basically, once a proposal comes in and asks for 50,000 US dollars, and they need to decide how many um, Shimmer token or how many project tokens they convert or give out, um, they always take the 15-day average instead of the price of the day of the payout. Because if you're lucky and
Yes.
the thing is pumping, then okay, you get much more than the next day. And so this is something. But as we pay out in stable coins, usually actually, it isn't actually an issue because people request $50,000 and they will receive 50,000 USDT, and it's just up on the committee itself when it is clever to basically convert those tokens into USDT.
Now I'm remembering,
Yeah.
I think, why we did it, because we were converting running cost to USDT at like a 6-month interval.
Yeah.
So then we're pulling from that pot, basically. Like, hey, these are our running costs. We know we're covered for 6.
And I
Um,
also know why we did it, because this was also a big input from Greg from their experience from Sooniverse. Because
yeah.
this they got and you see it same Lendex and all the others. You sell stuff for IOTA tokens or for Shimmer tokens, and then 3 days later the market crashes. Yeah, and this is basically how it was at Sooniverse. They started their NFT sale, and received quite some nice amount of IOTA tokens, and 2 or 3 weeks later it was down. It was 70% down. Yeah,
Yeah.
and for a project, you have a clear cost base, and if you submit a proposal for a 2 or 3 month project, that will cost you $60,000 or $80,000, and you receive tokens, and 3 days later your $60,000 is only $20,000, you're basically not be able to deliver this project. And
Yeah.
so for the committee, it's super important. Once we give out funding to a team, we need to be sure that they have the finances to deliver what they promised. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they will say, the price crashed. We just couldn't finish. We need more tokens because basically, if you want this stuff to be delivered, we couldn't pay our devs, blah, 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 blah. So this is why also
Yes.
most of the grant projects, they basically all pay out in stable coins to avoid this problem. Yeah.
Right. And the reason that that works is because they have a universal base, if you will, a
Yeah.
standard by which they determine the value. And that value can be calculated, like you said, based on the aggregation of 15 days or whatever it is,
Yeah.
to provide some sort of stability by which we can say, hey, you valued the project cost at this, we're going to issue this, and we expect that. And
Yeah.
that way you don't get because we have no idea what the market's going to do,
Mhm.
what the value will be.
Yeah.
So,
And this is
Yeah.
also why we have put this already in, because we basically put in that once a proposal is approved by the committee, basically on this day the full amount of uh, of funding that they need will be converted from Shimmer into USDT. So basically, you have Shimmer tokens in the big wallet lying around, and a proposal is approved for $25,000. Basically, once you have approved it, you are converting the full amount of Shimmer tokens to USDT, and you basically put it on the side as the budget for this project. And so also if there are milestones defined, and so basically the first milestone is you get 5K, the second milestone you get 10K, and then the third milestone you get another 10K. The treasury has these tokens already at hand, and it doesn't matter what the price does in 4 weeks or in 6 weeks. You can pay out what was requested, and the team will receive what was promised, basically. So we have this in the document already.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Forgot about all that. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Good. Nice input. Thank you. This was really good.
So that's pretty much it then. Just we've got the legal entity, we've got the working on the legal paperwork, and got the framework finalized. Missing anything?
Yes.
That's all of it. Now we're just waiting.
What else? Yeah. Committee selection process, everything, like I said, everything is smooth and fine. All proposals in the governance forum so far everything has worked out very well, I think. Nice turnout, nice involvement, everything. One thing, yes. In regards to the committee member voting process, we have thought about how we handle once this vote gets announced. Pretty sure there will be questions from the community towards the potential candidates. And I talked with Antonio and also with our mods here, because there have been already some discussions going on in different channels in spec and whatever, and people have been pro and contra candidates and things like this. So what we decided to do is basically, once we have basically an announcement and a date for the vote, very likely we will know it kind of like 2 weeks before or something, and make a nice announcement that on this day, okay, the committee votes will start. We will open a forum here also in the Discord server. Something like you see it in, we have it currently in the Firefly support channel. where you have basically it's basically a mini version of the governance forum here in Discord, because I think for discussions and back and forth and blah blah blah, it's sometimes easier and better for the people to do that in Discord. And so we basically will open this forum for the community and for the reviewer candidates, and basically every candidate will get a kind of a thread or his own little area there where people can come and ask questions and discuss those grant reviewers, and maybe also be critical around them, and then the grant reviewer can answer and things like this. Because I think it's going to be much easier and better used than doing it in the forum. And so basically, this is what we plan to do. Yeah, we'll put this up as a forum in the governance section here or somewhere, and then also always lead all the discussions here in the server to this section, that we have just everything in one place. Then, yeah, and that was something I wanted to mention. And I also think that it might be interesting because we want this also to be open. So maybe some candidates want to do a little AMA or something like this. Yeah. So maybe they say, okay, hey, I'm on Friday evening, 8 p.m. I will be 2 hours in my little forum section in the Discord. And if you have any questions, if you have want anything to know or discuss with me, I'll be there for an open chat discussion, blah 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 round. This might be interesting for people to because there will be campaigning going on, there will be community members agreeing and disagreeing with candidates, and we want to channel this into a form that it's not flooding all our channels here in Discord, and basically lead this all in one place. And this forum style that Discord has implemented is, I think, pretty good for that. Yeah.
Nice. I'm looking at the Firefly support. So if someone creates a post and they could tag one of the candidates if they want to ask them a question, and then
Yeah. Yeah,
and
and
that
it's
a little
and it's much better than the previous section with all this with the Discord threads, because the threads are basically nobody sees them if you not
Right.
join them and stuff. So this forum it's a much nicer way of handling such specific discussions around a topic. And yeah, we will try that. We'll set up something to test first, and then if this looks nice, we'll set this up for all discussions around candidates and yeah,
Nice.
candidate voting things. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was something that I wanted to say. Besides that, if there are no questions from the audience, which speak up now if you if you want to, if somebody has some suggestions, ideas, or things to mention. If not, we will see you all again, hopefully on next Tuesday. Um, I will update, I will add this couple of those suggestions that we spoke about now to the document. Then we can go through it again, and we would still be, let me see, would we still be? No, we wouldn't then make the 16th. Or maybe I'll just update it and I'll post it in the channel. Everybody can have a look, and then potentially we can put it up over the weekend in the governance forum already as the updated version. So then we could follow our schedule, JD.
Yeah. I put as the meeting
So
minutes that
that's
we're going to try to follow the schedule,
yeah.
but
Try to catch the
once
16th. You never know. I mean, also if we don't receive 50 votes until the 16th, it anyway will not follow the schedule perfectly.
right.
So let's see.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best and
Yep.
cool. All
Okay, everyone.
right. Oh,
Um,
one last thing I just thought of. We
yeah.
could talk about this next week. Did we do we want to change anything of the runoff process
Yeah.
from since we
Yeah.
had experience with that, and
Yeah. That's a good thing to talk about next week, I think. Yeah. Let's think about review. I'll yeah. I'll check again how I did because I think I even have a slightly updated version of the framework already. I didn't show it yet, but as this came up, I checked and I think I did edit already a couple of those wordings. I'll pull it up, and I think it's a good thing to discuss this next week. Yeah, so we might be then just update this. If we find agreement in the group, there's no rush. I think we can maybe. Um, um,
But would
yeah.
that be in this treasury framework, or does that fall under something else?
No, it is in the general governance framework. Was in the
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
right. That's right. Okay.
It's in the big document. This is also why
Right.
it's in the big thing. Here it is much lighter, and we don't have issues with that because
Right.
it's
Right.
just
Okay.
the general governance process. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe we could start
Yeah.
when we finish this, we could start looking at that framework
Oh,
again.
anyway, I mean, in general, now we are here, and this is a new year of governance. I personally have kind of massive, huge plans for governance. I mean, now we just got this first little baby of the grid with. Let's see. Let's have a vote on treasury and all these things, but um, there's going to be so much stuff to do around governance this year. Um, Also on the technical side, yeah, so there will be smart contract stuff. We will have to potentially build tools and all things. So there will be quite massive amount of work and all kind of cool things to do around governance this year. So I'm really looking forward to this year as involving our community much more in decision-making processes. We really just got started now, and there's so much stuff to do. And so basically everybody that is still interested and wants to engage in stuff around governance, there's going to be masses of stuff to do. Yeah. Also from a technical side, so it's not just only talking things. So if there are devs and things, and then we're going to have some funding, so we basically can think about to build some really cool things. And not everybody has to work for free on that, so we can hire some team to do some cool implementations, and there's a lot of cool things happening now. I had also a meeting with Daniel Ospina from the research. You had a chat with him here also, and he's basically developing kind of a community tools and things like this that would also include governance and governance analytics. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. Um, Once we have this treasury thing running, we will focus on a lot of other cool things this year. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are we going to keep using Discourse, or you think there'll be a change of platform?
for the forum, no, I would stay on Discourse. I think it works very, very well. Um, there's just some stuff that could potentially be implemented. I mean, we could build a bot for Discourse and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of cool things that you can do.
Can we? Is there any way to integrate like Firefly voting in Discourse?
This is something we have to think. I'm not a dev, so generally yes, you can. I mean, Firefly, you could always use deep links. Yeah, deep links are a super nice, smooth thing. It's not very easy and user friendly to do, so it's not something that everybody can just put up something and then you click a button and Firefly opens. So you need to follow a specific form, but the Firefly team or the wallet team is also working on making this deep link functionality and formats much easier. So there would be something that potentially you have a button in Discourse which you click and it automatically opens Firefly. This is definitely possible with a little bit of coding work, and Discourse is the good thing, it's super customizable, yeah. So if you have a good dev, and it's basically it's just like it's HTML, it's front end work, but in the back end, of course, things need to fall in place. And then also once we have smart contracts, there are some interesting possibilities. Then you have Sooniverse with some interesting possibilities. They are now enabling voting with all kind of tokens in Sooniverse. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things happening. And we can have a look how we integrate this all into the big picture.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, everyone. Until then, I'll say see you next Tuesday. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Have a I don't know, good start. Don't freeze. Don't. Anybody got some snow? You still have snow, JD, yeah?
Oh yeah, we've
I
got like
think
3 foot of snow.
I think the Europeans are just swimming in mud, and that's it.
Hello, can I request something, please?
Yes.
Can you please unmute me? It's been months. I promise I won't put too much.
I didn't understand. Can you speak a little bit slower? I didn't really understand you.
Yeah, can you please unmute me from IOTA Discord?
You are muted and you are here in the channel. I see you. I will put this for discussion with the mods, but I don't know. Yeah, we will let you know. But it's always going to be a discussion and decision by the moderators.
I think I've been too critical about like why mana is equivalent of fee.
Yeah,
but
I know. I
think
see it in. Don't put up this discussion now because otherwise your mood will definitely not be lifted. Yeah. So thanks for
I had
bringing.
no other. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
but I had
mean
no other.
there are reasons why you have been muted, and I'll continue to mute you here. Like I said, we'll discuss this with the mods, and thank you very much for your input. Everybody else, have a nice day and see you on Tuesday. Okay? And
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.
okay,
See you Friday.
spam some emojis here. I forgot it always. Jay, come on. Did we do any? No, they're active. We should play some poker or something here. No.
Oh man, when is like a? Do we have a poker, like a on-chain poker yet? I guess smart contracts, huh?
We just had a poker game. What was it? A week or two?
Yeah.
The winner is here. Bodini is where he's the poker king.
Booty won. My God, it's like a talent on all fronts here. Yeah. Crazy.
Ben, shoot me that. Remind me if that comes up again, please.
Absolutely. It was a great game. I won some money myself. You can win some money.
Nice.
All right. Okay, see you guys and ladies and everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.